Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with the Fulton State Expedited Accusation Calendar. So this is a calendar in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after being booked in, the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, he has already accused the defendant of formal misdemeanor charges. So this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer, and we will address what is the accusation number, what are the charges brought against the defendant, who is going to be representing the defendant, get an appointed counsel if necessary, and also to set a bond and give you a court date if necessary. So let me see, Mr. Jordan, our next court date is going to be the 21st.
That's correct, Judge.
Thank you. All right, so let us begin. Courtroom 2. Oh, by the way, if you are a defendant charged with a misdemeanor criminal offense or offenses, please remember that you have a constitutional right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you with regards to the treatment of your matter. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we will have attorneys from the Public Defense Office or the Conflict Defense roster to represent you. Now, I don't know if I have conflict defense attorney available on Zoom today. So if one is not available, they will be available to represent you at the next court appearance. So meanwhile, courtroom 2, again, I'm sorry, who's present? Officer Norris?
Sergeant Johnson.
Sergeant Johnson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Judge, I have 2 announcements, please. Position number 1 is going to be medical reset. She refused to talk to the public defender. And position number 3 was released.
Okay, yeah.
Who would start with position number 7, please? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Who's prosecuting Zayla Capers Walker? Position 4?
That would be me, Your Honor.
All right,
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Carr,
sorry.
I just wanted to make a note as to whether the cruelty charge has been NOD'd or null prossed. Okay,
Okay, yes.
all right, thank you. Position 7, we have Kristen Collins. Are you Mr. Collins?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Collins, my name is Judge Law, and we are addressing your case 22 CR 0043958. You've been accused of theft by taking from July 7th, 2022. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney representing you this afternoon is Ms. Samia Giddings. Ms. Giddings, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing well. Your Wi-Fi is not very stable, so I'm crossing fingers and toes that it will go well, okay? All right.
Yes,
so
it's thundering and storming where I am. It's thundering and storming and lightning where I am.
Okay. Ms. Roberts, any priors on Mr. Collins?
5 priors. Last arrest was July 1st of this year for theft by taking. That case appears to be open, 22 CR 004-256H. Appears to be on probation for robbery. 22 SC 181-918. The disposition was June 1st of this year. 1 year, 3 months confinement, and 3 years, 9 months probation. And along with that case, it was another case number 21 SC 179-615. And that was
I have plenty. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Carr, what's the state's recommendation for Mr. Collins?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state's recommending a $2,500 surety bond, as well as a stay away from the incident location, 902 Donald Lee Howell Parkway.
Donald Lee Howell, yeah.
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, that's the U.S. deli. Yes, Your Honor. The state's main concern is that open theft by taking that occurred just 7 days ago on July 2nd. He was also cited for a theft by shoplifting on June 26th of this year, 6 days before that, as well as this recent robbery conviction that's from February of this year. So, Your Honor, we do believe there is a serious threat for their reoffense for this defendant. So that's why we believe that's the appropriate recommendation.
Born 1996. Okay, all right. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Collins is 25 years old. He is a disabled veteran. He has a broken jaw currently, though he did not receive that injury while in custody. And he's been here a little over 3 years, and his highest level of education is some college. In light of his history, we would ask that Your Honor give a $2,000 surety bond.
All right. Bond is going to be set at 2,500. It is a
Excuse me.
surety bond.
Excuse me.
Yes, Mr. Collins, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. If you want to waive your right to remain silent, you are free to ask your question.
I thought my public defender was going to ask for a signature on.
You don't qualify, sir. You were just convicted of robbery. You had a arrest on July 1st. You've got this new arrest, and you have a theft by shoplifting charge in June. You pose a very high likelihood of reoffending.
No, ma'am.
All right. So your bond is 2,500 surety bond. And I believe, well, the other bond was through the jail, so I'm not going to leave it at that. Your next court date is going to be July 21st at 9 a.m. at courtroom G33. And you are to stay 200 yards away from the U.S. Deli at 902 Donna Lee Hollowell Parkway in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you.
Position number 4 is next, please, Judge. And focus, I need everybody to stay focused.
This is Zayla Capus Walker, is that correct? All right, Ms. Capus Walker, you have a right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. And you are charged with simple battery domestic violence. The cruelty charge should have been dropped, NOD'd, or null prossed. Is that done, Mr. Carr?
I'll submit that right now. I'm filling out a null process and I'll send that to Mr. Jordan.
Please, thank you. All right, so Mr. Jordan, please take a note that the cruelty charge will be null prossed. And what is the, okay, that's quite all right, Ms. Roberts. Mr. Carr, I've read the warrant in this situation. Is Mr. Goggins facing felony charges?
He is, Your Honor. Yeah, when they had detained both of them, they found, the drugs on his person or in his backpack. So he is currently on a felony charge with those drugs. On
Zayla Capos Walker, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond. It's going to be through pretrial services. She can be released on a signature bond. She can return to her home. She's to have no further violent contact with Lee Goggins, and she may have contact with the child in question. I believe his first initial is Y. And Ms. Capus Walker, as soon as you're released, make sure that we have your correct mailing address, phone number, and email, and we will send you notice for your next court date. If you'll be reporting to pretrial once a month, and you're not allowed to have any physical or verbal altercations with Mr. Goggins. Do you understand?
That's correct.
And if you don't show up in court, or if you fail to report to pretrial, your signature bond will be revoked and converted to a surety or good bond.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position number 5 is next, please.
We have Tabitha Carter, accused of battery, domestic violence. Ms. Carter, your case number is 22 CR 004393F from July 8th, 2022. Ms. Roberts, any priors, please?
Yes, 29 priors. Last arrest was April 12th of this year for a FTA out of Douglas County. She has a 2018 theft by shoplifting conviction, 2013 driving while license suspended conviction, 2012 forgery conviction, 2003 10 counts of deposit account fraud conviction, 2003 financial identity fraud conviction.
Oh, we have good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Carr, what's your state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state's recommending a $2,500 surety bond, as well as no further violent contact with the victim, La Promise Dye, last name D-Y-E, and a one-day anger management class. Your Honor, I'm sure you read the facts in this case. The defendant got in an argument with his daughter, and she threw her phone at her face and caused visible swelling. Your Honor, in this case, the state is concerned. She does have 4 previous FTAs, the last one being from this year of 2022 and then 2014 and a little bit earlier. And Your Honor, just given her extensive criminal history, we do believe that this is the appropriate plea recommendation.
All right, thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Carter was born and raised here in Atlanta. She has a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 14-year-old. Her 36-year-old son is providing care for the minor children at this current time. She has 2 years of college education, and she is a caretaker, and she was in a recent car accident and is suffering from hypertension as well as diabetes that needs to be watched and monitored so that her blood sugar does not get out of control and she does not have diabetic coma issues. So that is a concern of hers, as well as getting back to her, excuse me, her children. In light of the situation and the alleged facts surrounding the altercation, we would ask Your Honor to give a $1,500 good bond. And before Your Honor rules, I just need to say this for the record for everyone who's listening. We had someone say, I thought my attorney was going to ask for a signature bond. For that, a signature bond is automatically considered by the court for everyone. However, the final decision lies with the court as to whether or not you qualify and whether or not you will receive one. So if you don't hear me ask for one, don't think you aren't being considered. You are being considered. You just don't have to keep saying that over and over and over again. Thank you, Your Honor.
Just 1 second, please.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. With regards to this particular case, I just had a couple of questions before I set bond. This occurred at a hospital and not at the family home, correct?
No, ma'am. It occurred at the home.
Yeah, I believe she
Oh, she was
taken
transported
the
to the hotel.
hospital. Yes,
Okay.
and then showed up. Yes, Your Honor.
I see. All right. And is Miss La Promise, is she an adult over the age of 21, over the age of 18?
No, she's 16.
Okay. All right. Bond is going to be set at $6,000. It's going to be a signature bond for pretrial services. Ms. Carter, the bond is $6,000. I'm going to allow for a signature bond. But if you violate any of the conditions of the bond, well, that's all on you then, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You
so
need to
much.
understand that. That's all on you.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you violate the conditions, you'll be back in jail. And just remember to bring $6,000 with you, but that's how much it's going to cost you to get out of jail.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
Thank you
to
so
have no
much, Mom.
further, well, listen to the conditions before you thank me. You're going to have no further violent contact with La Promise Dye. If she is living with you, there cannot be any physical or verbal altercations. If she's disrespectful to you, if you don't like what she's saying, if you don't like what you're doing, you take yourself out of the house and you go for a long walk. Because right now your privilege to admonish her in any way, form, or manner is gone. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
There cannot be any verbal or physical altercation with La Promise Dry and quite frankly with any of your children. You are to report to pretrial once a month. You're going to undertake the one-day anger awareness program that we have through pretrial. And if you violate any of, as I said, you have to have no further violence. So you can return home if she lives with you, great. But you decide whether you enjoy it more at the jail or whether you enjoy it more at the house, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we will send you a notice to your home. And I'm assuming that's the Alvarado Terrace place, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll send you notice there for your next court date.
Yes, ma'am.
No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Position number 12 is next, please, Judge.
This is Yafa LaShawn Hutchinson. Simple battery domestic violence is the charge brought against you from June 15th of 2022. Case number 22 CR 004400F. Ms. Hutchinson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Giddings. Any priors, Ms. Roberts?
No priors, first arrest.
All right. Any objection to a signature bond, Ms. King?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Bond is going to be set at $3,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Ms. King, what is the issue with contact? Have you all got any information from the victim?
We only know that she's 16 years old, but we do know at the scene she was released to another adult and went to the home of that other adult. Her father, Demetrius Cody, that's currently where she is. I would defer to the court regarding where she will reside and if the mother will be allowed to be in the same place.
All right. Ms. Giddings, do you have one thought or one way or another about this? Because I really don't have enough information.
No, Your Honor, we were going to ask for a signature bond. The 16-year-old daughter is with her father currently. There is an open defects case against the daughter for being unruly and for truancy. And she is also under the care of a physician. She's receiving SSI benefits because she does have some mental health issues. And so there is a defects caseworker dealing with those situations where this daughter is concerned. Ms. Hutchinson has 10 children.
Okay. All right.
And three of her other kids are all would like for the disruption she's causing in the home.
Ms. Hutchinson, your bond is $3,500 through, it's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You report to pretrial once a month, and you can't afford to get arrested again for anything else. You may return to your home at 1595 Mary George Avenue in Northwest Atlanta. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, no?
Correct.
Okay. You shall have no further contact with Yakira Hutchinson. Is that the name of the child?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All contact with listen very carefully. All contact with Yakira Hutchinson will be in accordance with whatever protocol and requirements that DFACS institutes.
Okay, defense placed her back in my care. She's in my home as of right now.
All right. So I'm going to assume that DFACS is going to be monitoring your child as well as you while
Yes.
this is going on.
Yes, they.
Your condition is no further violent contact with Yakira Hutchinson. So I don't care if she knocks down all the flower pots or damages any more property. If there's any kind of situation, you call the cops, or and you call DFACS. Understood?
Yes.
And if you engage in any physical or verbal altercations with Yakira Hutchinson, or actually with any of your children, you just come back to jail, and next time you bring $3,500 with you. All right, we'll see you on, we'll send you your next court date. In the meantime, you're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position number 13, Judge.
Been at one of these for a while. Brenda Jackson is accused of conspiracy to commit a misdemeanor. 22 CR 004-401J from May 24th, 2022. Ms. Jackson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. And Ms. King, I haven't seen one of these charges in a while, so what does the state feel about a bond in this case?
Well, I had to do some digging, Your Honor, concerning the cross defendants to really get a feel for what was happening here. She is the employee of a security company that is guarding that location, and she would accept money from various people to allow them to dumpster dive, Your Honor. And she told them there are valuables within, and that is confirmed through the company, the Georgia Building Authority, hiring security to guard it. So on that grounds, we're asking for the $1,000 surety to remain that's in place.
All right, Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Jackson is no longer employed at the Georgia Building Authority. She has one daughter, 10 years of age, and she is married, and the three of them live together in their home, and she has a 9th grade education. I would ask that Your Honor give a signature bond in amount of $2,500. And I did have a conversation with Ms. Jackson. She did not allow anyone into the building. And if someone is dumpster diving, we would proffer to the court that anything that's in the dumpster is considered trash. And if it's in the trash can, then there's really not anything to guard because it's considered rubbish at that point. And so we would just ask that the court take that into consideration. She has also indicated that there are limited funds since she has lost her job and her husband is the only one working. He works at Home Depot.
All right.
Making a little less than $15 an hour for a 40-hour work.
Bond is set at $2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail. She's to have no further contact with any of the staff or the owners at the Georgia, the supervisors at the Georgia Building Authority, and she's to stay away from 200 Piedmont Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position number 2 is next, Judge.
We have Franklin Gregory Beatles, accused of DUI less safe and expired or no license in person, accusation number 22 CR 004391D. Mr. Beatles, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. And any priors, Ms. Roberts?
One prior arrest from November of 2021 for a hit and run and driving without a valid license. Does appear to be on probation for that case. The disposition was February 15th of this year, 12 months probation. It was with Atlanta Municipal Court.
All right, thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, so in this case, the defendant, we were trying to get the full incident report, but apparently hit something in the road, and when they came up on him, he was facing the wrong way into oncoming traffic, and the regular DUI investigation went through. Your Honor, in this case, we're asking for the DUI for a $2,000 surety bond, as well as no driving without a valid license and no drugs or alcohol while out on bond. And for the expired license charge, a $500 surety bond. Your Honor, the state's concern is it was just from 2021 when he did have the hit and run, as well as the driving without a valid license, within about a year of each other. So, Your Honor, we do believe that's the appropriate recommendation.
Ms. Giddings?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Giddings. Your Wi-Fi is.
24 years old.
Ms. Giddings, we lost everything that you just said before. If you want to switch off your video, that might allow your audio to come through clearly.
Okay.
Okay, let's try that again.
Is this better now?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Beatles is 24 years old. He has a 12th grade education. He has a 1-year-old, and his child's mom is providing care for that child currently while he is a guest of the county. They share joint custody. He does work as a lawn and landscaping lawn care provider part-time, and he has lived in Atlanta all of his life, was born and raised here. Though he does have a recent history, it is a very limited one, and we would ask for a split bond, Your Honor. We would ask for a $500 signature bond for the expired or no license on person through the jail, and then we would ask for a $2,000 bond on the DUI.
On the
And we don't have
DUI?
an issue with no driving without a valid license.
Oh, yeah, hopefully, because
Ma'am.
he's not allowed to drive at all.
Yes.
On the DUI is going to be 1,500. On the expired or no license is 500. That's a $2,000 surety bond. Next court date is July 21st. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no driving unless he has a valid current driver's license, adequate automobile insurance, and proper registration for any vehicle that he operates. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, I have position number 6 is next, please.
All right, thank you. Is this Mr. Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Jolene Nequentis Clark, case number 22 CR 004-394Y. Mr. Clark, you've been accused of battery from a June 16th, 2022 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts, any priors, please?
Yes, 4 prior arrests, and they're all juvenile arrests, and they were all adjudicated delinquent, if you would like those.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor. So in this case, the state is asking for a $4,000 surety bond, as well as no contact with the victim, LaShawn Johnson. Your Honor, this did take place. I believe it's in a juvenile facility. It was all caught on video, the defendant as well as several others punching and kicking this victim until he was knocked unconscious, fell to the ground, continued punching and kicking him. We did have an opportunity to speak with the victim's mother, who said that the defendant has threatened Mr. Johnson on multiple occasions, and that the victim is fearful of him. And, Your Honor, this was a violent attack on him. So we do believe that the $4,000 surety bond is appropriate.
Thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Clark was born and has been raised here his entire life. This incident took place at the Youth Detention Center for Atlanta, but he also does reside with his mother here, and he earned his GED. Though he is now an adult at 18, he does not have an adult history, and he will be kept separate and apart because he's now at the Fulton County Jail and will not be back at the Atlanta Youth Detention Center. And we would ask for a
I'm sorry.
$2,500.
Were you asking for a signature bond or a reduced bond?
We would ask for a signature bond, Your Honor, but in lieu of that, if the court is not comfortable, we would ask for a $2,500 surety bond, but would not object to intense pretrial supervision, if Your Honor so desires.
Bond is set at $2,500. It's just a surety bond. He does have a DJJ hold as well. So even if he makes bond, he will have to be released to the DJJ hold. His next court date is July 21st. Whatever form or manner, he is not to contact LaShawn Johnson or any of LaShawn Johnson's family members from the jail or from any other location. He's to stay 200 yards away from Mr. LaShawn Johnson and Mr. Johnson's family members. He's also not to enable any third party to contact the victim and or the victim's families. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm. Yes, courtroom two.
I'm sorry, Judge, position number 8 is next, please.
Lovely. Okay. Rico Lavoisier Favors is accused of simple battery domestic violence from July 8th, 2022. Mr. Favors, you do have a right to remain silent as so advised, and your attorney, Ms. Giddings. Ms. Giddings will be representing you via Zoom. All right, Ms. Roberts, any priors on Mr. Favors?
Yes, 4 cycles, 2 out of Georgia, 2 out of Wisconsin, with the last arrest being in 2014 for possession of drug paraphernalia, 2 counts out of Wisconsin, and that was a conviction, and that was the only conviction that I saw.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond, as well as no further contact with the victim in this case. Michaela, I believe, Michela, Vaughn, Vaughn. Your Honor, we're still kind of investigating the extent of the contact that happened here. We know there was at least an argument that escalated into a physical altercation where he at least was pushing her. And so we do believe that's the appropriate recommendation.
All right. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Favors is 30 years old. He was born and raised here in the metro area in Atlanta. He has a 10th grade education. He also attended military school. He is self-employed within a family business. He is a delivery driver for a party supply company. He has 2 children, ages 11 and 6, and he has 1 child on the way, and is the main breadwinner source of income for his family. Given his limited history, Your Honor, we would ask for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Does he still live at Union Point Drive
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
with Ms. Vaughn?
She don't live there.
She does not live there, Your Honor.
All right. Bond is going to be set at $3,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with Michaela Vaughn until further order of the court. Does he have any children with Ms. Vaughn?
One on the way.
The one that's on the way, Your Honor.
How soon on the way?
4 months. She's 6 months. So yeah, 4 months, 2 months, 3 months now. I'm sorry. Round it off.
All right. If you want to have contact with the child, you will go through a legitimation court in any appropriate superior court and make sure that you get a court order regarding visitation and custody. Your next court date will be sent to you at the Union Point Drive in Union City, Georgia. You're going to return to that location one time only with a police officer to verify that Ms. Vaughn does not live there. If Ms. Vaughn is confirmed that she does not occupy that same residence, then you may occupy the premises. But if the police verifies that she does occupy the premises, then you will need to find alternative housing. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and you will report to pretrial once a month and complete a 1-day anger awareness program. Thank you.
Position number 9 is next, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position number 9 is Mr. Foster. This is State versus William Kenneth Foster. Are you Mr. Foster?
I am.
All right, sir. Your case number is 22 CR 004-397C for simple battery domestic violence from February 15th, 2022. Mr. Foster, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts?
3 cycles. His last arrest was August of 2021 for, I guess, a capital offense out of DeKalb County. That case is currently open.
Mhm.
And he has 1 conviction from 2013 for purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of marijuana out of Cobb County, and nothing further.
When was the Cobb County case? I'm sorry.
2013.
2013. Okay, thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state's asking for a $2,000 surety bond, as well as no further violent contact with Arika Owens, Aricca Owens, as well as a one-day anger management class. And in this case, what escalated it when she was refusing to leave was once she said she was going to call the police, is when he started grabbing at her hair and pushing her, and still repeatedly refusing to leave. Your Honor, that and the open case out of the cab just from 2021. The state does believe that the surety bond is appropriate in this case.
All right, thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Foster has a bachelor's degree from Georgia State University in marketing.
All right, go ahead.
He also has a bachelor's degree in hospitality from Georgia State University. He has a master's degree in social work from Yeshiva University in New York. He is currently an operations, collections, and sales training trainer for American Express. He and Miss Owens have one daughter. She is 11 months old, and they all three currently reside, and he is the majority breadwinner for the home. We would ask that Your Honor issue, based on his limited history as it is, a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial.
All right. Bond is set at 3,500. Is going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Miss Aricca, Aricca Owens, to stay away from 1950 Howell Mill Road in Northwest Atlanta. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. And if he wants any contact with the child that he shares with her, he would need to go through Superior Court and get a legitimation court order establishing paternity, visitation, and custody. His next court date is July 21st. Thank you.
Position number 10 is next, Judge.
All right. I'll be with you very shortly. Just one second. All right. This is position number 10.
Yes,
Second.
Judge.
All right. Mr. Hernan Hernandez is case number 22 CR 004-398J. Mr. Hernandez, I don't mean to be rude, but do you speak English?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your charge is battery domestic violence from September 23rd, 2019. You have a right to remain silent as so advised, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts?
5 cycles. Last arrest was May of this year for FTA. He appears to be on probation out of DeKalb County for possession of meth with intent to distribute. The sentencing date was May of 2013, 3 years confinement, 7 years probation, and he has 1 parole violation from 2015. And nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state's asking for a $2,500 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Reina Estela Pineda, forgive my pronunciation, Pineda, as well as a one-day anger management class. The facts of this case, she was going to try to pick up her daughter, and the situation escalated, and he was grabbing at her, leaving scratch marks all over her chest. Your Honor, in addition to the defendant being on probation, as well as this recent FTA from 2021, the state does believe that a surety bond is appropriate.
Was that a probation FTA? What are we talking about? What's the under? I know a FTA was reported. Do you know what's it for?
The FTA was for the underlying charge description says giving false information to a law enforcement officer.
All right, thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hernandez has a 10th grade education. He works at a flooring company with a friend of the family. He has 1 child, a little boy, 6 years of age. and he has one on the way. His girlfriend is currently approximately 6 months pregnant. Though he does speak English fluently, Spanish is his first language, though he is a United States citizen. With his history that we have, Your Honor, we would ask that Your Honor issue a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. And
So-
because, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is he having a child with a different woman? Because she's listed as her previous boyfriend.
Yes, Your Honor, he shares the 6-year-old with Miss Panada.
And he has another one on the way from another person.
That's my understanding, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hernandez, your bond is going to be set at $3,500. It is a surety bond. Your next court date is July 21st. You're to have no further contact with Reina Pineda, and that means you stay 200 yards away from her. You do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, and you have to stay away from where she lives. I'm assuming that's at 5555 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. You have to stay away from the entire complex. If you wish to have contact with the child that you share with her, you would have to go to Superior Court, file the appropriate legitimation action, and obtain a court order establishing visitation and custody over the 6-year-old child that you share with her. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms, and definitely no alcohol.
Your Honor, may we please have a caveat that he may send child support payments, end up in a situation where she would take out a warrant for abandonment of a minor child.
He is allowed to pay his child support through Cash App, and that will be done. Today is the 9th. So if he's already done so for July, then he's done. But if he's not paid July's payment, then he needs to do that immediately through Cash App as soon as he's released. Otherwise, he's required to pay his child support in accordance with the schedule through Cash App or any kind of electronic format. And that transmission of money only is transmission of money. He doesn't get the opportunity to add messages.
I got a question.
Yes, Mr. Hernandez.
How much is the child support? Because I didn't even know I was on child support.
Oh, you don't have a child support order?
No.
All right, then you need to go ahead and file a legitimation action.
Okay.
All right, and if you want to avoid an abandonment action, I don't know, Ms. Giddings, if you do know what the child support that the mother is seeking, then otherwise I won't know.
Yes, Your Honor, without an actual physical order, the minimum for one child is $265 a month. And
I'm not going to order him to put child 265 as a condition to the bond because that's not enough information for me to establish a child support as a initial judicial order. So I'm just going to require him to pay what's appropriate in order to avoid an abandonment action if he's afraid of that.
okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Next case, please.
Judge, can you give me one moment, please? I'm sorry.
Certainly.
Judge, we can go back to position number 11. Thank you.
This is Nicholas Hubbard, accused of criminal trespass from July 8th, 2022. Mr. Hubbard, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Nara Roberts?
First arrest.
All right, thank you. Mr. Carr?
This is my
Oh,
case,
sorry,
Your
Ms.
Honor.
King? Sorry.
The state is requesting $1,000 surety and no further contact with the victim, Susanna Hubbard, Susanna. Last name same as the defendant. A stay away from 14250 Freemanville Road in Milton, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons on bond.
All right. And Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hubbard has a high school diploma. He's currently working at Cycle Gear as a sales associate. And his mother actually is going to be posting his bond, who is the alleged victim in this case. It's a little bit of an unusual situation. Mr. Hubbard was under what he expressed to me is an inordinate amount of stress, and he just had a buildup, and he, out of frustration, went to slam his hand down on the counter and missed the counter, which was very, very close to where it was, and hit the stove. However, he left that and went outside to cool off. He did not approach his mother. He didn't do any violence toward his mother. And he is the one that actually called the police and asked that he be allowed to go somewhere so that he could calm down and cool off and get his emotions, if you will, back in check. The mother did not want him arrested, is my understanding. She's not in fear of him and did not call the police, and was quite shocked when the police showed up because she didn't understand why they were there, not having realized that Nicholas had actually called them himself. That being the case, Your Honor, as he has proffered that information to me to proffer to the court, we would ask for a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Mr. Hubbard, your bond is set at $1,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. No further violent contact with Susanna. Is it Susanna or Suzanne? Suzanne Hubbard. You may and you may return to the 14250 Freemanville Road in Milton, Georgia. While you are out on a signature bond, you will undertake a 4-week anger management program at your expense, and you may do so anytime within the next 120 days. Understood?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You are to report to pretrial services once a month. And when you enroll in the 4-week anger management program, you're to notify pretrial as to which program you've entered and when is your expected date of completion. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And I guess you owe your mom a stove. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position number 14 is next, please, Judge.
Tyler Antoine Jackson, is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Your case number is 22CR004402C. You've been accused of driving while license suspended or revoked, operating a vehicle while the license is yours, well, your license privileges have been suspended, operating a vehicle with no automobile insurance, reckless driving, failure to yield the right of way to a pedestrian, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Samia Giddings. Any priors, Ms. Roberts?
What's the name, Judge?
Jackson,
Okay, Tyler.
Franklin, excuse me, not Franklin. It's the right page. Tyler Jackson.
I'm showing 9 cycles. Last arrest was December of 2021 for possession or transport of a firearm by a convicted felon or felony first offender out of Rockdale. He appears to be on probation out of Fulton County for terroristic threats and possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer, 20 SC 174-200. Disposition was April of 2020. It was 4 years probation, 1 year confinement. And then he also appears to be on probation out of Rockdale for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That disposition was July 7th of this year. It was 5 years probation, and nothing further to add.
Thank you. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting that the $6,500 surety bond remained as set. We're concerned about his felony obstruction conviction being as though an obstruction is involved in the case before, Your Honor. Furthermore, Your Honor, his age and the amount of cycles and the severity of the cycles concerns us as well. We feel he's a danger to the community at large, and he's also a high risk of reoffending. So we ask that that the bond conditions remain as set, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Giddings.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson has 7 children from the ages of 8 to 14, and 2 of them are a set of twins. He has a GED, and he has been in custody since December 10th of 2021. Prior to that, he was residing in a rooming house. And this incident took place in, I believe, September of last year. And he has expressed to me that he was operating his girlfriend's car, and the tag was not expired. The registration was valid. He said there was valid insurance on the vehicle. He attempted to show it to the officer, but the officer wouldn't listen about the tag or the insurance. The officer was focusing on the suspended license, and that's all. He also would like to proffer to the court, as he proffered to me, that he was not driving recklessly and that he did not fail to yield the right of way. The gentleman who is involved in this situation is a stranger. He does not know who he is, was extremely intoxicated, and just walked out into the street in front of his vehicle. And when his headlights picked him up, he swerved to keep from hitting him. He just came out and even expressed to the officer on the scene that he walked out in the street in front of oncoming traffic and was in violation of his pedestrian duties by walking in the middle of the street. And Mr. Jackson says that he wasn't just driving with a disregard for anyone's safety. Understanding the history that he does have, and that he has been in custody for almost 7 months, and this incident having taken place almost a year ago, because we're about to be in August fairly soon, and this was an incident of September. We would ask for the bond to remain the same on the driving while license suspended. We would ask that the bond remain the same. That's $1,000. We'd ask that the bond remain the same on the operating of the vehicle with license suspended. I'm not sure why there's 2 separate ones. I think that may be for registration, because I don't understand why they would have 2 separate charges for the exact same thing. And taking into account that there was insurance that the officer refused to take a look at, we would ask that Your Honor do a split bond and allow that $500 to be a signature bond through the jail. We'd ask that the court take into account that there was no reckless driving per se, and that there was no failure to yield the right of way to a pedestrian who just sort of darted out into traffic, and do split bonds for those through the jail at $1,000 for the reckless driving and $500 for the failure to yield. And we would ask for a $1,000 surety bond on the obstruction.
Your Honor, the state will strongly object to any signature bond in this case due to his history. Furthermore, Your Honor, the officers checked the car's registration and insurance in the system. So while he may have had documents saying otherwise in the system, these documents were not valid at the time he was driving, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Can I speak?
You have a right to remain silent. Go ahead, Ms. Giddings, if you'd like to advise it.
Yeah, Mr. Jackson, I'm going to strongly suggest that you exercise your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, notwithstanding what the officer wrote down. I understand this was your girlfriend's vehicle, and the information you had is that the tag was valid and the insurance was valid because you actually had it. However, that is something that you can put forth as a defense at trial if you so desire.
No, I was just gonna ask, could I get time served? I've been locked up 7 months.
So let's
No,
look at
sir,
this. Let's look at this. I have Mr. Jackson. He was booked into the Fulton County Jail on December 31st, 2019, and released on April 10th, 2020. Where was he from April 2020 onwards?
Actually, Your Honor, I have him being booked into the jail on December 10th of 2021.
This is Tyler Jackson. He was booked on July 8th, 2022.
Yes, I've been in Rockdale County for 7 months.
Was it for a Rockdale County case?
Yes,
Then it's nothing to do with Fulton County.
okay.
All right, so we got that on the same page. For the first count on the driving while license suspended or revoked, which is more important to me than your insurance or registration issue, that's going to be a $1,500 surety bond. On the operating a vehicle during license suspension is going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. On no valid insurance at the time of driving, that's the best information that's available on file, and that's going to be a $1,000 surety. Reckless driving is a $1,000 surety. Failure to yield to a pedestrian is going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. An obstruction of an officer is going to be a $1,000 surety. This is a total of 4,500 surety and a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. It's a split bond. Absolutely no driving until you have a valid current driver's license on you at all times, adequate insurance and the insurance card, current insurance card in the vehicle at all times, proper registration, proof of it is also in the vehicle, and no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Next court date is June 21st.
Position number 15 is Nick Judge.
Francis Martinson
Yes, ma'am.
is accused of theft by shoplifting from July 6, 2022. Mr. Martinson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts?
I'm showing, give me 1 second. All right. 4 cycles, with the last arrest being March 13th of 2020 for a probation violation. His underlying charge was a misdemeanor, marijuana from 2018. That was a conviction in 2019. Had a 2019 planner attempting to elude conviction, and a 2018 conviction for pointing or aiming a pistol at another, 4 counts, and nothing further.
Is he still on probation for the 2019 case?
Let me double check. No, it was 11 months and 20 days.
Okay, thank you. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, the state has a slightly different GCIC for this defendant. We have a total of 14 arrests with 2 shoplifting convictions, one in 2016 and one in 2020. He also has some criminal trespasses and some disorderly conduct convictions.
I don't mean to cut you off. Did you say Robinson or Martinson?
No, this is Francis Martinson.
Martinson.
I heard Robinson, and that's what I
I'm so sorry. No, it's my goofy accent.
That
Sorry.
explains it. Okay, I'm like, wait a minute.
But the history that Ms. King just gave, I have that same history for this defendant.
Okay, so he's got 2 prior theft by shoplifting convictions. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct, Your Honor. 2016 and 2020.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Sorry, Your Honor. For that reason, the state is requesting a $2,000 surety. We asked him the bond to be raised due to his criminal history and extensive shoplifting convictions and a stay away from the incident location, the West Side package store, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor, makes me feel a little bit better. I heard all of those gun convictions in violation of probation. So thank you for speaking up there, Mr. Martinson. Mr. Martinson, Your Honor, has 2 years of college education studying political science out of West Los Angeles Junior College and Pasadena City College. He currently works as a landscaping and lawn care attendant, as well as doing some auto detailing when he can get the work. He currently lives with his mom, and he expressed having a not so intelligent moment for 2 bags of chips and a soda totaling $3.66. I have expressed that he needs to stay away from the West Side Package Store and have no further contact with the attendant who was working as a cashier behind the counter. And he indicated that he does not have an issue or a problem doing that. We would ask that, Your Honor, his bond is currently set as a $500 good bond. We would ask that Your Honor raise it to $1,000 and allow it to be a signature bond, either through pretrial or through the jail.
The state strongly objects to a signature bond in this case, Your Honor.
Bond set at $25 cash. Stay away from the West Side Package Store. His next court date is July 21st. Did you hear that, sir?
Ma'am,
Did you understand, Mr. Martinez? She set your bond at $25 cash, which means somebody just needs to bring $25 to the Fulton County Jail and pay it at the cashier's window.
yes, ma'am.
And if you get convicted of this third arrest for theft by shoplifting, any subsequent arrest for theft by shoplifting is automatically a felony charge.
Yes, ma'am.
So just keep in mind that you've run out of options where theft by shoplifting offenses are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next court date is July 21st, unless he makes bond.
Position number 16 is next, Judge.
Andre Mingo is accused of, is this Andre Mingo?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, these are a July 8th, 2022 incident, and an accusation was drafted 22 CR 004404A, in which you've been accused of criminal trespass in violation of certain rules regarding conduct at a bus rail station. So you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts?
16 cycles. Last arrest was from December of 2019 for battery, family violence out of the cab. That was a conviction in 2021. He had a 2019 disorderly conduct conviction, 2013 criminal trespass conviction, 2012 battery and criminal trespass conviction, 2010 criminal trespass conviction, 2009 theft by shoplifting conviction, and 2006 simple battery conviction. And nothing further.
Thank you. And Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's requesting that the $3,000 surety remain in place. This defendant returned to the MARTA station after receiving a MARTA suspension. It was not even close to being over, Your Honor, when he returned. Also, his actions were very dangerous for his well-being, which concerns us. So we're asking for that $3,000 surety to remain. Another stay away from, Your Honor, from the 5 Points MARTA station, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay. And Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mingo has a 10th grade education, but he did earn his GED. He is currently under the care of the Mercy Care Center for Mental Health Treatment. They are trying to assist him with housing at this moment as he is residentially challenged, in addition to receiving medication for his mental health issues. He is suffering from severe arthritis, and he actually has a metal rod in his left leg. He expressed to me that he didn't understand the date of his suspension. He was told that his suspension would start about 30 days prior to when it was actually to begin. And I did remember reading something within the paperwork where he was told about the suspension, but it was several days to weeks before it was actually supposed to start. And then once it started, the state is correct that it would run for quite some time. He expressed to me that he had no idea and did not understand that stepping over the covered area to get from one side of the platform to the other, because he realized he was on the wrong side, actually could have cost him his life. When he learned, and I explained to him that it runs on electricity, the monorail system, and if he had touched it, he would no longer be with us. And he says that he will never ever do that again. He did not realize that what he did was dangerous, to the point that if he had touched that apparatus, that it would have cost him his life. He would have been electrocuted on the spot. He also explained to me that he is not receiving his medication in the jail, and he is somewhat concerned about that. And he is asking that he be allowed a signature bond in the amount of $2,000, and he can abide by terms with pretrial. I don't know how pretrial will handle that, though, since he's under the Mercy Care Mental Health Center's care at the moment, and is residentially challenged because they're trying to get a placement for him and get a bed for him in an in-treatment place facility. And he understands that he has to stay away from MARTA. I suggested until well past October, but he understands that he cannot return to the 5 Points MARTA station.
On the certain acts that are prohibited is $1,500, and the criminal trespass is $500. Total bond is $2,000. It is a surety bond. His next court date is going to be July 21st. He's to stay away from all MARTA property, not just the 5 Points, but all MARTA property until further order of the court. I'm not concerned of when his suspension expires. I'm more concerned about his ability to comply with the court order requiring him to stay away from all MARTA property until there's a court order allowing him to do so otherwise. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I'm allowed a signature bond, ma'am.
You don't qualify, sir.
Position number 17 is next, please.
Mr. Shaquille Perry is accused of battery domestic violence from July 7th, 2022. Mr. Perry, your case number is 22 CR 004405A. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts, any priors, please?
4 cycles. Last arrest was March of 2021 for misdemeanor marijuana possession less than an ounce and use of drug-related objects, and DUI that was out of Clayton County. All of those charges was disposed of. He has 1 probation violation from 2018, and then the underlying charge was a 2016 driving while license suspended or revoked conviction. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. The state has been in close contact with the victim in this case. She stated she is fearful of the defendant and she wants no contact. She's went as far as to say that she wants a third-party contact with his mother because she doesn't even want him to participate in any way of coming to her home concerning the child that they share. She stated that the defendant has hit her sister and her nephew in the past. She was asking us information about how to get a TPO. She'll be moving forward with that on Monday morning, Your Honor. She also asked for supervised visits, if you could put that in the order in some way. We're asking for a $4,000 surety bond, no further contact with Jasmine Dix. Jasmine, traditional spelling, last name D-I-X, a stay away from 305 Oak Park Square in Atlanta, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And if the court is so inclined, the conditions concerning the child and any transporting of the child.
Excuse me, ma'am, Your Honor.
Mr. Dix, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Perry, sir. I need you to exercise your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, please.
But some things ain't true, like.
I understand that.
Not true.
We talked about that, and I told you that whatever is said today, you have a right to fight it at trial. However, the judge is only concerned with setting a bond today and not the facts or the allegations in the case.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ms. King, the warrant was issued by Judge Williams yesterday. Has it been confirmed whether the victim allegedly did receive a broken nose?
So she has not gone to get medical treatment yet due to the child. She's trying to get care for the child because she knows it's going to be a lengthy stay at the hospital. She will be doing that today. So it has not been confirmed yet, but due to the pain she's feeling and how it looks, she was told by someone that was on the scene, I don't know if it was the officer or someone else that arrived at the scene, that they do think it is broken.
All right. Ms. Giddings, what's the defense's response?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Perry did attend school through the 12th grade. However, he did not earn a high school diploma. He works at Georgia Tech on the janitorial staff, and he works at a second cleaning service for janitorial work. He has a 2-year-old daughter that he shares with Miss Dix, and he was also taking care of Miss Dix, their daughter, and her 4 other children in the home. I did express to him that if he was not allowed to return to the home, he would have to make alternative residential living arrangements, but would be allowed a one-time escort by law enforcement to go and retrieve personal belongings. Due to the limited history that I did hear in this situation, we would ask for a $3,500 bond, and I'm quite sure that the state will do further investigation to determine whether or not this case needs to stay here or be transferred based on any medical information that they receive, and Mr. Perry is aware.
Your Honor, the state would object to a third, him coming to the home, even with a police escort. The victim is strongly stating she does not want him near her property in any way because she's so fearful. She's asking if the mother be allowed to go get his property.
Well, I asked my mother to go get the things while I was locked up here, just to keep us away from each other. But at the same time, that is my house. I do pay bills, and come on now, my child is there.
Mr. Perry,
Regardless of
Mr. Perry, we understand that, but with this situation as it is left up to
upon touching her sister or her nephew.
Mr. Perry, sir, this is a recorded proceeding, and you have people from the prosecutor's office on the line. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in this proceeding and any other subsequent proceeding that will be had in relation to this case. So I'm going to strongly suggest and urge you to please remain silent and exercise your Fifth Amendment right so you do not self-incriminate and say something that you cannot take back or walk back that will harm you going forward. If your mother is able to go and get your things for you, then it's not an issue. You don't need a police escort. Your mom can go and get your things. I understand that you all have a daughter together. However, if you have not filed legitimation and you do not have legal rights for visitation, that is something that you will have to do in order to visit and see your child. If you have done that, whatever court order is in place regarding visitation, that is what you will have to abide by, because Superior Court would have set out the parameters for visitation where your daughter is concerned. Thank you.
Bond is set at 5,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Jasmine Dix, no further contact with any children that he shares with Miss Dix. He's to stay away from the Oak Park Square location. Any personal belongings may be retrieved by a third party. Mr. Perry is not permitted to return to the location. Any contact that he wants with the children or child that he shares with Ms. Dix would have to be done through a legitimation action in the appropriate Superior Court, and where he'll obtain a court order to establish paternity, visitation, and custody if so warranted. He's not to consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. If he does make bond, he will enroll in a 6-month domestic violence intervention program within 60 days of being released, and he will complete that program at his expense. His next court date will be July 21st. Thank you.
Position number 18 is next, Judge.
Ron Robinson is accused of driving, fleeing, or attempting to elude a police officer from July 4th, 2022, case number 22CR 004406G. Mr. Robinson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Samia Giddings. Any priors, Ms. Roberts?
Or priors, with the last arrest being March of 2020 for a probation violation. He has a 2019 conviction for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, a 2019 conviction for fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, and then a 2018 conviction for 4 counts of pointing or aiming a gun or pistol at another, and 1 count of reckless conduct, and nothing further.
All right, thank you. You said he had probation. Does he have any open probation cases or any other open matters?
No open probation cases. They were all 12 months, and they all have been completed.
All right, Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, the state requests that the $10,000 surety remain in place, mainly due to the defendant's criminal history. He has done this offense before, which he has been convicted of. Furthermore, the 2 other cycles involve firearms, Your Honor. One, while he was still under the age of 18, this defendant has not been making good decisions and following the law. So the state asks that you leave the 10,000 surety in place, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Giddings?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Robinson has earned a GED. He has 1 child on the way that is due in approximately February of next year. He currently resides with his brother, Mr. Deontavius Robinson, and has resided here and has ties to the community for an extensive period of time, having lived here and reared here. In light of his history, Your Honor, we would ask for a $5,000 bond.
A 5,000 surety bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I said yes.
Did you say $5,000 surety bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
The state is subjected to a reduction, Your Honor. My apologies.
From 10,000? Is that correct, Ms. King?
Yes, the state would object to any reduction from the 10,000 surety due to his criminal history.
This was the only charge, right? He wasn't found in possession of any drugs or guns or anything. Does he have an open felony case I don't know about?
Well,
No,
we
Your-
do not have a report, so that's what we're waiting for, to find out what else happened in the incident. So we don't have anything.
Okay, if y'all find something more, then I'm sure we can revisit that. $5,000 surety bond, no driving unless he has a valid driver's license, insurance, and registration. Thank you. Next court date is July 21st.
I've been.
Position
Mr.
number 19, I'm sorry.
Is this Mr. Steele?
Yes,
Yes,
Judge,
ma'am.
thank you.
All right, thank you. This is position 19, case number 22 CR 004407B, State versus Maurice Lavelle Steele, accused of criminal trespass from July 8th, 2022. Mr. Steele, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Giddings. Ms. Roberts?
I do not show a criminal history, Judge.
Okay. Ms. King?
Yes, I'm showing 2 cycles. His only other arrest was a marijuana possession from 2016. In any event, Your Honor, the state is requesting that the $3,500 surety remain in place, as well as a stay away from the Twist and Scoot motor scooters, building 1801 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. The bond is $2,000. This is a signature bond through the jail. And Mr. Steele, your next court date will be sent to you at your current mailing address. Do we have a current mailing address? Ms. Giddings, do we have one for him? Mr. Steele?
It would be on,
It's I thought y'all had it. Okay, because I gave it to them. It's what did I say?
the jail does have his current mailing address, Your Honor. It is on his booking
Pinche?
screen.
All right. You cannot return to this really fun place called the Twist and Scoot motor scooters at 1801 Piedmont Avenue. If you return to that location, the police will be called and you will be arrested again. And the next time you will not get a signature bond. Do you understand? You will need to keep up with your court dates. Make sure that you find out when's your next court date so that you show up in court. Otherwise, you will be arrested for failure to appear. Thank you. And I'm going to assume that the address we have on file is the correct one.
Yes, Your Honor. That's the only one I have.
Pecan Circle, is that correct, right?
You are.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sergeant Johnson, how am I doing so far?
We're done, Judge. Thank you so much.
All right, you
Thank
take
you.
care then. Have a good one.
You do too. Y'all have a good rest of
Thank
your
you.
day.
All at the jail. Thank you at the jail. Have a good weekend
right.
for the rest of the week.
Before you run away, Ms. Giddings, Mr. Jordan wants us to do just a rundown to make sure that
Sure.
he has all the correct information. Position
Okay.
number 1 is a medical reset to Monday, which will be July 11th. Position 2 is a $2,000 surety bond, reset July 21st. Position 3 was released. Position 4 is a $3,000 signature bond for pretrial, further notice. Position 5 is a $6,000 signature bond for pretrial, further notice. Position 6 is a $2,500 surety bond, reset July 21st. Position 7 is a $2,500 surety bond, further notice to July 21st. And Mr. Jordan will also reset his companion case, 22 CR 004-256H, the one listed on the calendar, to July 21st as well, SAP. Do you see his companion case on the calendar? That's for Mr. Collins. Okay. Position 8 favors is a 3,500 signature bond for pretrial, further notice. Foster, position 9's 3,500 surety bond, reset July 21st. Hernandez, position 10 is 3,500 surety, reset July 21st. Hubbard's $1,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Hutchinson 12 is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial. 13 Jackson is a 2,500 signature bond through the jail. 14 is a 6,500 split bond. Reset date is July 21st. Position 15 is a $25 cash bond. Further notice to July 21st. Andre Mingo is a $2,000 surety bond, July 21st. Perry is a 5,500 surety bond, July 21st. 18 Robinson's a 5,000 surety, reset date July 21st. And position 19 Steele is a was it a $2,000 signature bond through the jail? We good? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
All right, everyone. Ms. Giddings, I hope it's dry and sunny now where you're at.
Yes, the sun is out. Yay.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jordan doesn't look too happy, so I guess.
I'm great, Judge. We did a good job.
All right. Okay, everyone else, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you bright and bushy-tailed on Monday morning, okay? Take care.